Now we get to move on to the short axis strokes, breaststroke and butterfly. Today we'll work on breaststroke first. And the big difference between short axis and long axis strokes is, head timing. So in short axis strokes, the big thing was head position was the first thing we talked about. In breaststroke and butterfly, timing is going to be more important because the head's always moving around, it's going up and down. So we need to make sure it's moving at the right time, and we'll work on some drills for those. Then of course we always want to be cutting through the water as much as possible, no matter what stroke it is. So we'll focus on some drills that squeeze and get us cutting through the water a little better. And then this one is something I think a lot of kids struggle with on breaststroke when they first start learning it, is they want to do these big kicks and they want to use their arms a lot. And you'll notice, if you've coached 8-year-olds before, half of them get DQ'd in the breaststroke, either for a bad kick or for pulling their arms down past their hips. So there are some ways to the goal will be to separate these things out so that kids can just focus on working their kick or just working their arms, and then later on put them together. And then of course in breaststroke we like our distance per stroke, so let's get going. As you probably know, breaststroke kicking is a lot different than any of the other kicking motions that we do in the other strokes. And usually at the beginning of the season I try to catch the kids who aren't born with a breaststroke kick and try to teach it to them. Honestly, I haven't found a really good way to teach them how to properly breaststroke kick. Usually it's just practice, keep reiterating, and at some point they'll get it and they'll do it right, and then it'll be correct. But probably the best way to teach it is to have the kids actually on the wall and wall kick. And here I have my head down, but you can start the kids with their head up. That way you can actually talk to them while they're doing the kick, instead of if you have them on a kickboard and they're swimming away from you, then you have to chase them down and stop them and explain things, and then they have to try it again and they do it wrong. Here at least you can get them in one spot over and over, and you can really focus on telling them kind of what to try to do so that they can get their breaststroke kick better. And later on we're going to talk about the timing of breaststroke, which is really the most important thing. And this, even wall kicking, you don't have to just do it at the beginning of the season, you can do it throughout the season and bring in that timing element to it. So here towards the end of the video I start doing what we're going to call breathe, kick, glide. So in breaststroke we want to breathe first, so head up, take a breath, kick, and then glide and shoot forward. And this is kind of it's nice to do it on the wall, where you have, as a coach, you have a little more control over what's happening, and if people are doing it wrong, you can correct them right away. So the most important thing in breaststroke is timing, or any of the short axes, so breaststroke or butterfly. Timing is everything. And this drill is called no arm breaststroke, or breathe, kick, glide, breaststroke, and that's really the focus of it, is we just want to work on the timing. So the arms are just not full pulls. I usually tell the kids don't move your arms at all, and if they use them a little bit, that's fine, that's not a big deal. But the idea is we want to breathe first, so head up first, keep the legs straight, and then as we're coming down, then the legs kick backwards, and hit that streamline in between every stroke to really focus on cutting through the water. So we'll play it one more time here, full speed. And I've actually had kids race this way, because little kids, they try to use their arms way too much, and if you've ever worked with kids, they'll bring their arms all the way down to their hips and even get disqualified during races. When they're really young or early in the season, I try to keep their hands from doing as much as possible, and I want their body and their kick to do most of the work. So I've actually had kids get up on the blocks at meets and swim and race no arm breaststroke. And then of course they use their arms a little bit and it looks perfect. So, but this is a good kind of stepping stone towards full breaststroke. Just like the kick and breaststroke, the arms are kind of unique as well in that they don't go all the way down to the hips like they do in all the other strokes. They have to stop here to get out of the way. And a lot of times I like to teach the kids this proper motion on the wall. So here we kind of lay down, kind of right at chest level, arms start out in front, and then as they sweep in, we want to make sure, obviously, this wall gets in the way, so the kids aren't allowed to push all the way back. And then the second they touch the wall, it's almost like they bounce off the wall and they shoot forward. You know, you'll see a lot of kids who get stuck right here in their normal swimming. Most of that is because of timing, because they don't breathe early enough. So they're stuck here waiting to take in air before they can push forward. But this is kind of a nice drill to have them on the wall, that way you can make corrections on the fly. And you take away all the other stuff so that they can really just focus on what's going on up here. And that's really the purpose behind all these drills. You want to break things down, simplify them, and so that you can work on every component and make it perfect. And then towards the end, you put them all together.
You know, there was a couple things I didn't mention in this video, but young kids really like to get stuck here, and then they kind of slide their hands forward instead of really shooting their hands forward. And so sometimes once you start working on the small hands part and things are looking good, then you can get the kids to really shoot and try to get them to make like that white water in front of them and really kind of motivate them to shoot the water in front. They usually like it. And then I always try to get try to get their thumbs to go right through the surface of the water, and that's about the level that their hands should be. Sometimes, you know, we don't want forearms pushing up or down. We want them to go straight through into the water. Sorry, that got a little messy, but just a couple more notes there.
This is the 2 kick 1 pull drill. Pretty common, pretty popular. Essentially, we're going to pull once and then kick twice. So this is the second kick here, and then pull once, 1 kick, 2 kicks. And really our goal, you know, just in any of the strokes, we always want our body to be flat. We don't want to seesaw or swim uphill. That's bad. We want to always be swimming downhill. So this drill forces the kids to stop and pause and hold a good straight and flat body position, rather than if they rush it. A lot of kids, when they rush it, they'll kind of stop. They'll stop maybe right around here, and they won't push the full way down, and they'll try to go into the next stroke a little too fast. So this forces them to dive down, swim downhill, maintain good body position, and then a quick stroke. We can watch it one more time here at full speed. So, then of course we want the kick that we worked on. We want the little arm pull, not pulling all the way down to the hips. Nice. This is called breaststroke to a streamline. So in between every stroke, we're actually going to come back to a full streamline, like hand over hand, squeezing the head. This is essentially normal breaststroke, right? So little kids, I don't like them to go off and just, oh hey, we're going to do 6/100s breaststroke on 3 minutes without anything for them to think about. I'd rather do something where they're forced to think about what they're doing and improve their stroke, actively improve their stroke. And this is like an easy way to elevate normal breaststroke to something that they're actually going to improve with. And really, breaststroke, there's a lot of drag that's generated when you take the pull, because if we pause it right here, remember your whole body, imagine your whole body is like a box, and it's always moving forward. Even in this position where it looks like it's stopping or going backwards, it's moving forward. So you have to imagine all this water is just slamming into you and stopping your motion. So if we can get the kids to really cut through on the push part, right, where they dive in and streamline, I think that'll be, any drag that we can reduce is always beneficial. And this is a nice way to elevate normal swimming to something that will be more beneficial.
So now we can move on to some advanced drills. For breaststroke, having fast hands that don't get stuck is going to be really important. And then also, and this is really a tough concept to get in breaststroke. In breaststroke, we kind of think of it more as a flat stroke. You're just trying to take a pull, kick, and glide, take a pull, kick, and glide. But, some of the best breaststrokers I've seen really have like a little bit of a body wave to them. And it's something that we can try to practice and incorporate into normal breaststroke. And then more and more elite swimmers are getting a narrower and narrower kick. I mean, I kind of wonder how much power how they manage to get so much power out of such a small kick. That's probably what makes them born breaststrokers instead of made. But anybody can work on it, and we'll work on it today.
This is breaststroke with a freestyle kick, one of the advanced drills that we do. The real focus here is fast arms. If you watch the arms, because they're not getting a drive from the back, they really need to get out of the way quickly so that you can maintain forward momentum, right? And you get to take away the timing element of the kick a little bit, so you don't have to worry too much about that. And this is a really good one to do with fins. And the extra speed, the faster you're moving in the water, the more drag you'll feel on you. And so if you can feel that drag in the front as you're taking a stroke, it kind of incentivizes your body to get the hands out of the way and let the legs do most of the work, if you have fins on, that is. So that's kind of one of the ways to augment the drill and make it even a little better. But the main thing of this is fast hands, fast hands, fast hands. So what you'll notice in breaststroke, just like butterfly, there's a bit of an undulation to the body. It kind of goes up and down, and as we press down, we push our hips forward, not necessarily up, but forward. And this is breaststroke with a fly kick. My fly kick here is maybe a little too big, but that's all right. That's not the purpose, right? We're not working on our fly kick. We're working on the hips, pushing forward as you dive down, so that you can get this kind of nice body roll into the water when we do the normal breaststroke. Let's see here. Let's play it one more time. And things here get a little exaggerated. We come up high, push down deep, come up high, push down deep. That's fine. And that's why this is an advanced drill, because all the advanced drills have a tendency to make something else worse. Like this one, we're not holding our body line quite as well as before, but the purpose is to work on something else. It's to work on undulation and hip motion. One of the big things these days in breaststroke is having a really narrow kick, and there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, you can get almost all the power you need without bringing your knees out too wide, and most kids really bring their knees out really wide because they're trying to grip as much water as they can. It's not really necessary. And number two, and probably even more important, a narrow kick doesn't take as long to complete, so you can get your tempo up. And these days the real elite good breaststrokers manage to get their tempos up real high. So this is simply, you start out, this is just ankle touches is what this is called. So you start out with your hands down by your side. This would be good to combine with a snorkel. That's my drawing on the snorkel. It's not very good. And then all you do is just work on, as you bring your ankles up, you touch them to your fingers, and that way you're forced to keep the knees and ankles close to you and not out wide like that, and you just kick them back. So it's basically just breaststroke kick, but as you touch your fingertips, you focus on keeping the ankles and knees close together.
That's all the drills I have on breaststroke. Not a whole lot, but really important ones. And again, even with the short axis strokes, you want to try to build your workouts around all those components so that kids are always working on them every single day. Thanks again for watching.